Good morning and happy Monday, everyone. This is Barry Fields, and this is my beautiful wife who will be modeling for me today as we continue to talk about how the aperture works in the camera. I'm going to be shooting with the 3514 Zeiss with the Sony a7 III. I would use the Sony a7C to show you how well the camera body works with this lens setup, but because the Sony a7C has the flip out screen, I like to use this for recording. That's just another reason why it is one of the best content creation tools out there available on the market. And so I'm going to show you just a little bit from examples of how the aperture works. This is a 1.4 lens, and so the aperture opens up really wide, so we'll get really shallow depth of field, and so you'll be able to see the blurry background and just kind of see how this works. So I'll take a picture at f1.4 to show you the blurry background, and then I'll take a picture at a higher f-stop just so you can see the difference and how much of a difference it actually makes when you get separation from the background and you use a lower f-stop with the aperture. And so we've got a beautiful scenery here. We've got the JW Marriott right there. I don't know if you can see that. We've got this beautiful, I don't even know what you call those things, this tree right here, but it has purple leaves on it, and it is just amazing. I love the setup, whatever Indianapolis is doing as far as planting the trees and the setup and planting the different color of trees. I really love what's going on. If you haven't been to downtown Indianapolis as of yet, I suggest that you put that on your to-do list, because what they're doing right now in Indianapolis is amazing. And so we're going to take some pictures. I'm going to have her stand against this rail right here, and I'm going to take two images, one at f1.4, and then we'll probably shoot it maybe at f5.6 or f6 or f7, somewhere around there in that range, just to show you the difference in what a lower f-stop can do. So I'm going to bring the camera just a little closer, just so you can kind of see. I'm going to take one image at f1.4, so you can kind of see we're at f1.4. This lens also has a aperture ring, and so I don't know if you can see that, but I can actually change the aperture ring physically without having to go to an actual dial. But this is one of the lenses that has the aperture ring on the actual lens, which that's a great feature there to have. And so I'm shooting at f1.4. I'm at about 1/4000th of a second shutter speed, and my ISO is at 50. Let's see what we get. All right, we're gonna take another one. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Awesome. Let me see. I'm gonna try and take that at just a little higher of a shutter speed to try to get rid of the highlights on your shirt. Mm-hmm. All right. 1, 2, 3. Now, one thing I can say about the a7 III that the a7C cannot do, the a7 III goes to 1/8000th of a shutter speed, which the a7C only goes to 1/4000th of a shutter speed. It is a little bit of a disadvantage as far as the a7C goes, because in days like today, I shot at 1/4000th of a second at 1.4, and my ISO was as low as I could possibly get it, and certain parts of the image were still blown out because of the highlights. So the advantage of the a7 III is that it can go up to 1/8000th of a second, which is amazing. It is a disadvantage for the a7C, but the a7C is amazing. There's ways to get around that. Like right now, I have a ND filter on it by, I believe it's KMP Concept. It's a great ND filter, and that's the reason why I'm able to get the kind of image that I'm getting. That's the reason why I'm able to get the kind of image that I am getting out of the camera as far as the video is concerned, with the blurry background and her behind me. I'm only shooting at an f5. If I were to turn it up to about an f1.4, which that's what this lens goes to, then you wouldn't be able to tell what was behind me. It would just be a big blurry blob. Now I am going to stop down the f-stop to about an f5.6 and then see what we get. And that way you'll be able to see the difference. Now, one thing about aperture and shutter speed is that the lower the aperture, the more light it lets into the sensor. The lower the shutter speed, the more light it lets into the sensor. So because it works like that, the opposite end is when you stop down the f-stop, it will allow less light into the sensor, which creating a darker image. And so because I stopped down to an f5.6, I was currently shooting at a 6400 shutter speed. Now I have to bump that up to about, I would say probably about about 1,000th of a second or 1/500th of a second in order to be able to get a well exposed image, because all those things play a factor into how much light is let into the sensor and the exposure of the image. I'm going to do a video on that, explaining how the shutter speed, the aperture, and the ISO play a part in getting perfectly exposed image. There's no such thing as one particular settings for all situations, but it depends on the situation, the lighting conditions, whether you have harsh sunlight or you have soft sunlight, or you don't have any light at all. And so, I'm going to do a video on that, so be looking for that to come in the future. So now I'm going to shoot at an f5.6. I am shooting at 1/500th of a second. I'm probably going to bump that down to about 1/200th of a second to be able to get more of a perfectly exposed image. All right, we are perfectly exposed. Awesome. All right, now that you have seen the images between the 1.4 aperture and you've seen the images of the f5.6 aperture, I'm hoping that you see the difference with the blurrier background behind her with the 1.4 versus more of the image being in focus. Both of them are beautiful images, of course, because we are taking pictures of a beautiful woman. And we also have, I just said that just to kind of make her blush a bit, but we have a beautiful background and scenery. But if you want to get the best images possible and the most flattering, sometimes shooting at a low f-stop would be the best option for you, and sometimes it's not. It just kind of depends on what look you're going for. All right, hopefully I said something and showed you something that was helpful to you and increasing your knowledge in photography and the way aperture works. Be on the lookout for more videos on apertures and f-stops and cameras and all those different kinds of things. I want to look to get more videos out, at least two videos a week. So please be looking for those. Like, share, and subscribe, and we will talk to you soon.